Hello everyone and welcome to the fourth Chasm devlog. I know you're probably tired of me saying this, but there's a lot of new stuff. One of my main problems with Chasm was always that it didn't feel like it was a game, it didn't feel fun. So I solved that in quite a few ways. The first way was I reanimated the player, so I made a brighter version of the player, and I also animated them to look as if they're running. The only problem with that is that right now, they still have the running animation running when they're not actually running. I also didn't like the basic mouse cursor, so I imported the one from Musketfish, which is a complete disaster. It was way too big and it didn't fit the game, so I made a new, very small, sort of like pointer one. I like it mostly. I don't know if I'm actually going to keep it because I think I might want to make it bigger, but if I don't, then that should work for now. What you see on screen right now is me setting up the moving platforms. So the idea with them is that they'll move relatively quickly, but you won't move along with them, which will mean that you have to run along and make sure not to fall off any side, and then when you want to get between them, you have to use your teleportation power to get to the next one. And that brings me to the next note, which is that I redid the animation for the teleportation. So instead of having a fade out, fade in, which just the delay may feel unresponsive, I created a little poof effect that overall I like, but I want to make it a bit shorter, probably. I'm not sure. One of the things that I was going for when I first started making Chasm was that I wanted a game that there really wasn't a right way to play. So I wanted a game where you could choose to attack enemies whenever you wanted, though more on that later, and you could also choose to avoid them whenever you wanted, but you also had to do a bit of fighting and a bit of platforming so that different people with different skills would do better in different areas of the game, which I think would also fit well with speedrunning. I think Chasm is definitely a game that could be very well speedrun because the boosting and stuff, you have to time that perfectly if you want to do things fast as possible, though it might be a bit hard. My team members are hard at work too. Your local Chris created 2 little boss fight songs for when you fight elite enemies, which Flying Zucchini designed, and he also created this cool rock image, which you can see on screen right now. Madcat34 is currently learning to program with Godot with my help. In case you hadn't noticed, I really like pixel art in my games, so I also have your local Chris working on just a few little assets I might use later, and Colonel Turtle is still working on some of the story art that he hasn't finished yet. I also created a little blood effect when you or an enemy gets hit, which I really like this effect. It's just really fun, and I plan on adding a little blood splatter where an enemy dies, so that will give sort of more environment to the game. I also just spent a while fine-tuning things and working on templates. I also spent a while doing just bug fixes, minor improvements, things like that, and so on screen you can see a bit of gameplay from what I've added so far. This is just a test level, so it's not going to be anything like what the main levels will actually be like, and hopefully the main ones will actually be fun to play, because this one's really not that great. If you enjoyed this video or are interested in Chasm, please subscribe, and also follow me on Twitter and itch.io, and you can join my Discord server.